Welcome to the Real Craven County Schools podcast. And today we have Dr. Hillary Boutwell with us.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I hope you're well.
Very good. It's wonderful having you here. And I wanted to have a chance for you to be able to talk about you and your title and all of the great work that you do.
Oh, thank you.
So tell us in your role, Director of Accountability, everything that you do.
Perfect. So our department is the Accountability and Student Information Systems Department. So we're a team of 5. And so we do all things data, anything data related, standardized assessments. That's our testing side of things. And then our SIS side of things is what we call the Student Information System. So that this is how we communicate grades and any sort of progress on our students in Craven County. So we do both of those hats.
And I thought at the convocation, you guys had some really perfect shirts, if I recall correctly.
We did. It said data or it didn't happen.
And that is correct.
Yeah.
So that's the world that you live in.
It is.
And so you work with it every day. And I'm sure you work with it when you're at home, when you're on the way home, when you're trying to go to sleep, everything.
We live and breathe it. We believe everything is rooted in data.
Well, great. Well, we're so glad that you're here. Tell us a little bit about you. How did you come to Craven County Schools?
Oh, perfect. So I'm a graduate of Onslow County Schools. We're from the area. We traveled with family to other districts, but when the opportunity came about to come home and get closer to home, we took that opportunity. So my children and husband actually moved home before me while I waited, and I would come home on the weekends, and then Craven County had an opening and afforded me an interview and ultimately the job. So that's how I kind of landed in Craven.
Well, we're so glad we have you. And so the data world was your previous work experience as well?
Yes, ma'am. Prior to I did that in a previous district, and then I also served as a school administrator, principal, assistant principal. But before that, I was a chorus and drama teacher.
Oh, so that's when you were talking about your performances before.
Yes.
Well, so now tell us, because this year you have definitely taken on a huge performance. So you have taken on Infinite Campus.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is our new student information system. I heard you say SIS, and we are so famous for all the acronyms that we have.
We are.
We have PI, we have CTE, we have SIS. So tell us about Infinite Campus, because I know people might not understand that you just didn't necessarily hit a switch and we worked from Power School and then all of a sudden we were in Infinite Campus. It doesn't work like that.
It does not.
I wish that it did. So tell us all of the work, because there was a lot that was involved.
Sure. So I think you said the word that we kind of start with, and that's Power School. I think most families, most parents are going to know that word. It's been in North Carolina as the Student Information System, or SIS, for quite some time. We started kind of hearing that there might be a change, that DPI might be looking to do a different company, a different agreement. And so around December of last year, we heard officially that they were going to move into a new student information system known as Infinite Campus. It's a company based out of Minnesota, but we are the 9th state across the nation that has done a full adoption of Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus was in North Carolina prior to Craven County. It was appearing in individual schools and our private schools. But we have adopted as an entire state. And the state of North Carolina, their agreement is a 2-year rollout. Phase 1 districts were afforded the opportunity to apply and say, we'd like to start the process now. Whereas the entire state of North Carolina, who does not go into Phase 1, would then be in Phase 2. So regardless, the entire state of North Carolina, our public school system charters, they are going to be Infinite Campus and transition away from Power School. The question was, do you do it during Phase 1 or do you do it during Phase 2? Craven County, in our opinion, from multiple departments, we felt like we were positioned and in a good place to go ahead and opt or apply to be in Phase 1. And so we had, support from multiple stakeholders. Let's do this process. So we applied and were approved, subsequently approved for that. And we began the process or began the transition in January of 2024. All other districts that did not do Phase 1, they will start the process here in the next couple of months. But we have a year head start.
Yeah.
So we felt strongly that Craven County could handle doing something that soon. We also felt like if we're going to learn something that we inevitably have to learn, let's learn it in a smaller cohort when we have very individualized support versus having to learn it with the masses when the entire state has to take on Infinite Campus.
So how many districts were in phase one? Do you know?
There was a little bit over 130, I believe, but that, keep in mind, that is districts, but that's also going to include charters, and every
Okay.
charter would count as an individual LEA. So that was a little more than we anticipated. We had originally heard it would be anywhere from 30 to 40 districts, a small group, but the state of North Carolina and Infinite Campus felt that if you were ready, let's honor that. And so therefore they accepted more than what we had originally planned for. But that was okay. Craven had a great, in my opinion, a great transition. Everything involving change management has kinks, but I think we were positioned in a really good place. So it stands for Student Information System, but really we're talking Staff Information System,
is.
somebody information system, because everybody's in Infinite Campus. If you serve in any type of capacity in Craven County, you are in Infinite Campus. If you're a student, if you're a parent, if you're a guardian, if you're an aunt or an uncle or a sibling, you're in Infinite Campus. And it is the authoritative source of information for our district. So we began that process. And then it was time to start transitioning a decade worth of data from Power School and moving that over the summer into Infinite Campus. And we did that. We went completely live July 1, and we've just been full throttle since then.
Yeah. And I know whenever you mention the word change, people cringe.
Yep.
And so there's been some learning curves along the way, but you all have handled it like the pros that you are. There's been lots of trainings and opportunities. And I think the other thing, too, that's been really important is that you guys have been very patient. So I want to definitely extend that because sometimes I don't know that people truly understand the mass. Because when you talk about 10 years of data, and when we currently have this year enrolled just a little over 12,000 students, it's a lot.
It was a lot of data. And I think that it's really important to share that, yes, our department and other departments, to include your department and public relations, technology, our digital and blended learning, yes, there was very behind the scenes work happening, but really the entire district, the staff started the process before school even let out last school year.
Right.
Had they not asked to go ahead and engage in the work, I don't think it would have been as successful as it was. There are many districts who opted for phase one who did not start modules until like the opening teacher work days of this school year.
Wow.
Just because some teachers want that summer, right? I will touch it when it's time for the new school year to start. But Craven County didn't do that. The staff was ready to roll, and by the end of the summer, there was something like 25,000 professional development hours that had been completed Craven County wide between teachers and any type of staff member getting ready for this transition.
That's
so it's really
impressive.
district.
Yeah.
It's really the district.
That's very impressive. So I know that you rely a lot on your data managers.
Yes.
And so I'm sure you want to give a shout out to them.
They are phenomenal. They are led by our student information systems coordinator, Miss Melissa Detweiler, who has really, it's the accountability department, but she's probably the head of this transition. She has taken on a big load. The data managers did as well. So many of them are not 12-month, and so they engaged in staying more over the summer to get this process done. They had multiple more hours of professional development that they had to complete than anybody else. I think the teacher learning plan was something like 9 courses, whereas data managers had as many as 30, 35 courses that they needed to complete because they needed to know every aspect of the platform versus some of us who only need to learn certain parts of the platform. They have done a great job. And what they don't know, they reach out and ask, which we really appreciate. That patience piece has been big.
And I don't know that people necessarily understand what a student information system houses, but so that they do, like for a data manager, they are doing enrollment.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's an online feature, but we also had to do paper and pencil this year since we were transitioning. So all that information had to be entered. For our teachers, it's grades and attendance.
Yes, and behavior.
So it's something that everybody is touching daily.
Every single person has some type of capacity. I mean, even you have bus drivers who might, we hope not, but might have to do a referral. That Infinite Campus is there to see that process through. And so, yeah, everybody played some type of role, and everybody had to learn and stretch their brain a little bit
Right.
since last January.
I always remember one of our kindergarten teachers for my children. She would always say when they had an achievement with learning, kiss your brain.
Kiss your brain.
So
Yes.
we've had lots of kissing our brains.
Lots and lots. Yes, ma'am.
So now tell me, because I know at open houses, we had parents who were inquiring about the parent portal.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've heard lots of feedback that they like the parent portal better than what was available before through Power School, which is always great to hear. And there's also a student component of that. So there's a student portal as well. And so through those features, they have the ability, the school can send announcements. They can also view their grades. They can also review their attendance. And so when we talk about these things in terms of communication, there should be no surprises.
There should not.
Right.
There should not be any surprises. So one of the things with Power School, if you've been a parent in that process, is sometimes that data would take a little bit to populate. You could wait overnight for something to sync, and sometimes you were waiting a little bit. Infinite Campus is instant. So if a teacher puts a grade in, it is immediately available. And based on the settings that have been set up for you, you might get a text message. If you say, I want to get a message every time a grade posts for my child. That would be me, by the way. I want to know immediately how my child is doing. Then Infinite Campus offers that for you. It is available on, a desktop, laptop, tablet, but most people are going to utilize their cell phone. Mm-hmm. And so it's available in the app stores. And it's just Campus Portal for Infinite Campus. Green. It looks kind of like little stars.
It does look like stars.
Like little constellation. Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Yep. And it looks very similar for student and parent. Every parent and student has their own unique code. That has been a little bit of that's a good opportunity for growing as we started open houses. Is most people in families might not have all of their children attached to one account, or a family might be sharing one account. Infinite Campus has your own unique code. So mom and dad, for example, my husband and myself have 2 different accounts. We can see all of our children beautifully, but we log in differently because we have 2 different accounts. It is incredibly user-friendly. One evening of kind of messing around and looking in there, and you're going to find that it is very easy to navigate, perhaps easier than they've done in the past. I shared yesterday, actually, I have the unique opportunity to be a Power School parent and an Infinite Campus parent right now because of where my children go to school. And I am able to find things much quicker in Infinite Campus than I am able to find in the parent portal for Power School. Students, we talked about this a little bit. I love the student platform because I think above all, children should have a hold and understanding of how they're doing.
Sure.
Even right on down to elementary school students, they should be able to see and know how they're doing. And I'm turning my things in, and I'm getting announcements from my teacher. And so there is a student portal as well that we're encouraging all children, if they have, the tablet or a cell phone, if they have the means to do so, download that and track your progress. It allows you to message your teacher and ask them questions or things of that nature. And so both are very accessible and can be downloaded, and we encourage parents to do that. If they have difficulty, which has happened a little bit during this transition just because of the volume of people getting in, just notify the data manager, and the data manager will, if it's a code, they're missing a code, they can give that on the spot. Here's your code, and help you through the process. If you do that process and it's still not working, some parents are experiencing things like they get locked out or their account gets disabled. That's where our department comes in. And we are very happy to help. You can send us an email, or you can give us a call, anything of that nature, just to say, hey, I've done the process. I can't get in. And most times, 9 times out of 10, it's the click of a button.
Right.
And we can get you fixed in about 5-10 seconds. So we felt strongly that all families, including children, should have access to this on the first day of school. If that means we have to stay up and just click a bunch of buttons until we get every single parent ready to go, we will. But there are many districts who are holding off on the parent portal and the student portal side of things. Craven felt like that was important. Let's make sure that on the first day, I have a hold and can see what's going on with my education.
And I love the passion of our parents because some are like, but I don't see anything. Well, it was because there wasn't any grades
Right.
in there yet
It's
because
the
it was the
first week
first
of
day of
school.
school.
It's okay. No grades yet.
Yeah.
But
And no absences. That's all a good thing. So,
right.
but
At
yeah,
this point, grades are starting to roll in. Progress reports are getting
right.
close for some. And so now you're going to start seeing more and more. If you had a doctor,
Engagement. Yeah.
yeah, if you had a doctor's appointment, you might see an attendance change there. We're starting to see more and more.
Good. Well, and I'm so envious because not only as a student would I have loved to have had the feature to be able to see in real time how I was doing, it probably would have made me a lot better student.
Oh, yes. Me as well.
Yeah, if I mean,
yes.
if I see it in front of me, I'd be like, "Ooh, I got to do something about that." But also for my children, I mean, because I can think of one in particular that I probably would have had my thumb on a lot closer had I known. So I love that we're encouraging our parents to definitely get involved and get active and be a participant in this. And
Absolutely.
I'm so thankful that you all are very customer service oriented. That's one thing that I can say about your department,
Thank
hands
you.
down, that you guys are always willing to help and are accessible. And I think that that truly makes a difference, especially in this experience, because people can get frustrated very easily, not only when it
Sure.
comes to technology, but also when it comes to change. And so you guys have handled it definitely very well.
Thank you. Well,
Yes.
and it's change.
Yeah.
So we completely understand. And if we can fix it, we will fix it. By the time you get to our department, we figure you've been frustrated about 2 or 3 times trying to figure it
Sure.
out yourself. So let it stop with us. We'll figure out the solution. And that way you can move forward. So, yeah.
And internally, there are still some things that we need to fix. And that doesn't mean that we're stopping. We are still looking to actively get those things resolved, and we're going to.
Absolutely.
So, and the other thing too that you also are responsible for is our accountability in regards to our results.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is a huge responsibility as well. And so yesterday you had an opportunity to share that information with our Board of Education during their work session. So I didn't know if you would like to share any of that information today because that is from last year.
That's
So-
correct.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
are always, we're a year behind in regards to when we have an opportunity to share our results.
Right. The accountability results, we get preliminary results over the summer. Principals and leadership teams have the opportunity to kind of behind the scenes get an idea of what their data is going to look like, but they don't release the data for public consumption until after the state board approves, and that happens in September. So that occurred, and it's time to share the good news of
Yes.
Craven County. We had a lot of really great things happen this year. It was a big moment for Craven County Schools. So 16 out of our 26 schools met or exceeded growth, which is huge.
Can I stop you before you
Yes,
go? Because some people
absolutely.
don't know what that means.
Gotcha.
So what does that mean?
So we have a platform known as EVOS, which is educator value added assessment. So we're essentially growing. How are we growing children in the span of 1 year? We normally ask or expect a child to grow about a year's worth of time during that academic year. So this is outside of passing the test. That's proficiency. In addition to getting a level 3, a level 4, level 5 on your traditional EOC or EOG assessments, we also want to make sure that a child grows because a child may not pass the test, but they may grow a huge amount in the span of 1 year. That's why we always say a child is not a test score. A child does not need to beat themselves up over one test. It does not define who they are. So growth helps us talk about all that they accomplished in the span of 1 year. So we want everyone to meet growth. We want every child to grow at least 1 year, meet that expectation. But sometimes students will go above and beyond and they will go into the blue or the exceeding growth category. And so we did have multiple schools that exceeded
did,
growth this year. So 16 out of 26 either met that target or went above that target. That's pretty big.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And then we also get letter grades for each of our schools.
Yes.
And those calculations, it's not easy for people to understand, but it's 80% proficiency and 20% of the growth.
That's right.
And so then that's calculated. And then that there's also a scale and a range to give each school a letter grade.
Yes.
And so we had 2 schools that performed as a letter A,
We did.
which we were very proud of. So those are our early colleges.
Yes, ma'am.
Craven Early College and Early College East had the opportunity to be an A school.
They do. They do. They had exceptional results this year. Early College East increased their graduation rate. Craven Early College exceeded growth for the 3rd time in a row. So both, we are very fortunate in Craven to have 2 very accomplished and functioning early colleges.
Yes, they're
It's
very
very
high
rare.
performing. So we're very proud of them and like to celebrate that. And we also had 3 schools that moved up a letter grade.
We did. Vanceboro Farm Life
Yes.
improved in a letter grade. Brinson Memorial moved up in a letter grade. And then we had one more, and it's escaping.
JT
Oh my gosh,
Barber.
the big one. What am I
Yes.
doing? What am I doing? As of the official release, we have no more F schools in Craven County. JT Barber moved from an F to a D school, met growth, had an incredible amount of accomplishment. So those 3 moved up. And we also had a couple of schools who are 1 point away from moving up into another letter grade. So we anticipate for the next school year seeing even more schools go up even higher than that.
Because they were right there on the cusp.
1 point.
Yeah.
1 point. So it's coming.
Oh,
It's coming.
So
Yeah.
close. So another thing too, and Dr. Miller shared this too, while we're extremely proud of the accomplishments that we've made, we're not necessarily where we want to be. And I think
No.
that we always are looking for improvement. And I mean, that's just the nature of the work that we do.
It is. I think if every single school is blue and exceeding growth and every single school is 100% proficient, then okay, we've met our mark. We've done what we're
But I think
supposed
we'd
to
still
do.
be saying, okay, we could still do something
But there's
better.
something else we can do for
Right.
children. And so we do have some opportunities for growth and improvement in Craven County. We presented that data. Principals knew that data long before I got up on the microphone yesterday, and have already started devising their goals and getting ready for their school improvement plans. They've already been having meetings with their leadership team. So the data is just one piece, and they're taking it and planning, what are we going to do this year to address what the data is showing? Let's celebrate the things that we had, and that's amazing, but then let's keep this moving forward.
Right. And there's 2 things that I always like to say: data-driven decisions.
That's right.
And that's probably the work that you do every day.
Every day.
And then management by fact.
I love that one. That's my favorite.
Yes.
Management by fact. You can't go wrong when you're rooted in data. And we're not hurting for data. We can
No.
find data in
Yes.
everything that we do. We're not just talking about test scores. We're looking at attendance data, discipline data. There's just so much data that we're looking at. And as long as you're rooted in that and you put all of those pieces of the puzzle together, it tells a story about a child. And then you can make the best decisions for their future.
That's right. And when we say telling a story, we're not making up a story.
No, it's the story that's being built along the way. And so it individualizes the work that we do. I think a lot of people think, we have this class and with a lot of kids in it. No, every single child is treated as an individual. That data is looked at an individual way, and decisions are made for them.
That's right. Well, that's what's so impactful about the work that we do on a daily basis, and we couldn't do it without our educators.
Yes.
So we appreciate you being here today. It's been great having you, and I hope that you've enjoyed your time on The Reel.
I have. Thank you so much for the invite.